The fall of Trilia. In a distant corner of the galaxy, nestled among vibrant nebulae and swirling star clusters, lay the planet Trilia. Known for its breathtaking landscapes, advanced technologies, and a society that valued peace above all else, Trilia was a beacon of hope in a universe often marred by conflict. Its inhabitants, the Trillians, were a proud race with a rich cultural heritage, thriving in harmony with their environment. However, this tranquility was shattered one fateful day when a dark shadow loomed over their world. The invasion began without warning. Cheyenne warships, sleek and menacing, descended from the depths of space like vultures circling their prey. Their arrival was marked by an ominous silence that enveloped Trilia's capital city. Bra, a young scholar at the prestigious University of Trilia, watched in horror as explosions rocked his peaceful home. Buildings crumbled under the relentless assault. Flames licked at the sky as chaos erupted around him. He could hear the screams of his fellow citizens echoing through the streets, a symphony of despair that would haunt him forever. As Bra rushed through the chaos, he felt an overwhelming sense of helplessness wash over him. His beloved mentor, Dr. Zvox, had been giving a lecture when the attack began. Now, as Bra searched frantically among the rubble for survivors, he feared he would find only death. The once bustling campus lay in ruins. Classrooms were reduced to ashes. Libraries turned to smoldering heaps. It was as if all that had once defined his life had been erased in an instant. The Galactic Federation had promised protection to its member worlds, but when the Shins struck, they abandoned Trilia without hesitation. This betrayal cut deeper than any weapon could. It shattered Bra's faith in those who had sworn to defend them. As he huddled in an underground bunker with a handful of survivors, he could smell smoke mingling with the stench of fear and death. They had sent out distress calls for days. Each one met with silence from those they once trusted. Why has no one come? Bra whispered to himself as he stared at the flickering hologram projector that had become their only link to the outside world. He felt a surge of desperation. If they were to survive, they needed help. Someone brave enough to stand against their oppressors. Just as despair threatened to engulf him completely, hope flickered back to life when the projector crackled and displayed a human face, a man with piercing blue eyes filled with determination. "This is Captain James Hawkins of the UES Endeavor," he announced firmly. "We received your distress call and are en route to provide assistance. Hold tight. Help is on the way." Bra's heart leaped at those words but quickly sank again under doubt. Humans were known for their aggression. Tales circulated throughout the galaxy about their unpredictable nature. Could they be trusted? Yet what choice did they have? Without help soon, all would be lost. Their world would fall into darkness. "Thank you, Captain Hawkins," Bra managed to say through trembling lips as he relayed their coordinates. Hope was fragile but alive. It was all they had left. Hours later, as night fell over what remained of his city, Bra stood at what was once his university's entrance, the ground littered with debris and sorrowful reminders of what had been lost. When Captain Hawkins emerged from his ship flanked by his crew, Lieutenant Commander Thompson and Dr. Reeves, Bra felt both awe and trepidation at their presence. Hawkins removed his helmet slowly. His expression was etched with empathy as he surveyed the devastation around him. "I'm so sorry," he said softly, his voice filled with sincerity that cut through Bra's skepticism like a knife through fog. Bra felt tears prick at his eyes. After so much destruction and abandonment by others, this simple kindness from an alien stranger overwhelmed him. Dr. Reeves immediately began triaging those who were injured, his hands gentle yet efficient as he worked tirelessly amidst chaos, while Thompson organized search teams for survivors trapped under rubble. But deep down inside, Bra knew that mere healing wouldn't suffice. They needed to fight back against this invasion or risk losing everything. His people's culture, history, and lives hung precariously in balance. "Captain," Bra urged urgently as he approached Hawkins with newfound resolve in his heart. "We must do more than treat wounds. We must confront our enemies. They will not stop until we are conquered or dead." Hawkins met his gaze steadily. Determination radiated from him like energy from a star. "I understand," he replied firmly. "We will do whatever we can to help you defend your home." For the first time since tragedy struck Trilia, hope blossomed within Bra's chest, a fragile flower pushing through concrete after a storm. As plans began forming amidst makeshift maps scattered across tables in their command center, a place that buzzed with newfound energy, Bra felt invigorated by human resolve blending seamlessly with Trillian tenacity. They would not just survive, they would fight back against those who sought their annihilation. A ray of hope. The aftermath of the Cheyenne invasion left Trilia in ruins, but amid the destruction, a flicker of hope ignited. Captain James Hawkins and his crew had arrived just in time to offer assistance to the beleaguered Trillians. As they set up a makeshift command center in the remnants of Bra's University, the atmosphere was charged with urgency and determination. The humans and Trillians needed to act quickly if they were to mount a resistance against the Cheyenne forces. Establishing a command center, Bra stood alongside Captain Hawkins, Lieutenant Commander Thompson, and Dr. Reeves as they reviewed the holographic map of Trilia. Red markers indicated Cheyenne strongholds scattered across the planet, while blue dots represented the dwindling Trillian resistance. The stark contrast was a grim reminder of the uphill battle they faced. "We can't do this alone," Hawkins muttered, his brow furrowed in concentration. He tapped his comm badge, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "Hawkins to UES High Command, requesting immediate reinforcements to Trilia. The Cheyennes are slaughtering civilians. We need help now." A stern voice crackled back over the comms. "Captain Hawkins, your request is noted. However, official aid could take weeks to mobilize due to bureaucratic procedures and political concerns." Hawkins slammed his fist on the table in frustration, causing Bra to flinch at the sudden outburst. "To hell with procedures. People are dying down here." "I'm sorry, Captain, my hands are tied," came the response. "Do what you can with what you have," the voice concluded before cutting off. Bra placed a tentative hand on Hawkins's arm, sensing his frustration. "Captain, I understand if you need to leave. You've already done so much." "No," Hawkins replied firmly, shaking his head. "We're not abandoning you. If High Command won't send help, we'll just have to make do ourselves." Forming a resistance. With renewed resolve, Hawkins turned to his crew. "Thompson, Reeves, rally every able-bodied person we've got, human and Trillian alike. We're forming a resistance." Dr. Reeves looked up from where he was tending to an injured Trillian child, concern etched on his face. "What about the wounded?" "We'll set up a field hospital," Hawkins replied decisively. "Train some of the Trillians in human medical techniques, so we're not stretched too thin." Thompson nodded as she pulled up a roster on her DAV-pad. "I'll start organizing strike teams for hit-and-run attacks." Bra stepped forward, adrenaline coursing through him as he felt a surge of purpose. "I can help with that. I know Trillian tech infrastructure. I can find weak points in Cheyenne supply lines and communications." "Excellent work." Hawkins clapped Bra on the shoulder, admiration shining in his eyes. "Thompson will come up with a plan while you gather intel on their logistics. If we can disrupt their operations and hit them where it hurts, we might just stand a chance." As humans and Trillians scrambled into action around him, Bra felt a glimmer of hope spark within him, a fragile yet tenacious flame that refused to be extinguished by despair. The Cheyenne response. Meanwhile, General Zorak of the Cheyenne forces was seething with rage in his command center aboard their flagship orbiting Trilia. The holographic display before him flickered with reports of ambushed supply convoys and destroyed communication relays. Evidence that this new alliance between humans and Trillians was becoming more than just an annoyance. It was a genuine threat. "Enough!" Zorak roared, slamming his fist onto the command console so hard that metal crumpled beneath his blow. His eyes blazed with fury as he glared at one of his officers cowering before him. "I want that resistance crushed. Do you hear me? I don't care how many troops it takes or how many villages you have to burn. Hunt them down and eliminate them." "Yes, General." The officer saluted hastily before scurrying away. Zorak growled under his breath as he contemplated how to deal with these primitive humans and their pathetic allies. He would not allow them to derail his conquest. He would drown this planet in blood if that's what it took. First skirmishes. Back on Trillia's surface, Lieutenant Commander Thompson crouched behind a shattered wall in what remained of the capital city's central district. Her heart raced as she peered around the corner at approaching Cheyenne soldiers clad in glinting armor. "We have to hold this position," she whispered urgently to Bra beside her, as plasma bolts whizzed past them, sizzling through the smoky air. Bra clutched a makeshift plasma rifle tightly, determination etched across his face despite the fear swirling within him. "We need to buy time for the rest of the resistance to evacuate civilians sheltering nearby." Suddenly, plasma bolts erupted nearby as they were spotted by enemy forces. "We've been compromised," Thompson hissed. "Draw their fire." Bra shouted back as he popped up from cover and squeezed off several shots at the advancing Shens. Thompson tightened her grip on her blaster. They couldn't let those soldiers reach innocent civilians hiding among the ruins. "On my mark," she said through gritted teeth. "We make a break for that alley. Ready? Go." They burst from cover just as plasma bolts filled the air around them like deadly fireworks. Thompson's lungs burned as she sprinted across open ground while Bra staggered beside her. Suddenly, Bra cried out in pain. A plasma bolt had caught him in the leg, sending him sprawling onto the ground. "Bra!" Thompson skidded to a halt and whirled around without hesitation. She charged back toward him while firing her blaster one-handedly at their pursuers. With fierce determination coursing through her veins, she reached him just as Cheyenne soldiers closed in. "Come on. I've got you," Thompson shouted as she hoisted Bra onto his feet despite her own fear. Together they staggered toward safety, the alley just ahead. But then Thompson felt an excruciating pain erupt in her side as another plasma bolt struck true. Her vision blurred as she stumbled but didn't fall. She caught Bra's gaze filled with panic and concern. "Stay with me," he pleaded desperately as he dragged her into the alleyway, just moments before more plasma bolts rained down around them. A desperate fight for survival. Propped against the wall of an alleyway, Thompson gasped for breath while trying to staunch her wound with trembling hands. Blood seeped through her fingers despite her efforts. "Thompson!" Bra cried out frantically as he fumbled with her medkit, his hand shaking uncontrollably while tears welled up in his eyes. "Stay with me," he urged again, voice cracking under pressure. "You saved my life. Let me return the favor." She tried to respond, but only managed a wet gurgle as darkness threatened to claim her consciousness. In those final moments before everything faded away, all she could see was Bra's desperate face, a reflection of courage amidst chaos, and then nothingness enveloped her completely. As chaos reigned outside their makeshift command center and lives hung precariously in balance across Trillia's scared landscape, hope remained alive among those who dared fight back against overwhelming odds. A testament not just to survival, but also resilience forged through unity amidst despair. The resistance grows. In the wake of the initial skirmishes, the alliance between the Trillians and humans began to solidify into a formidable resistance. The urgency of their situation forced them to adapt quickly. Every moment was critical as Shan forces continued to wreak havoc across Trillia. Captain Hawkins, Bra, and Lieutenant Commander Thompson worked tirelessly to train the Trillian volunteers, instilling in them the skills necessary to fight back against their oppressors. Training the troops. The makeshift training camp was set up in one of the few remaining structures still standing in the capital. It was a crumbling building that had once served as a community center, now repurposed into a hub of activity. The sounds of blaster fire echoed through the halls as humans and Trillians practiced together. Hawkins took charge of the training sessions, demonstrating tactics and maneuvers, while Thompson focused on weapon handling and combat techniques. "Remember," Hawkins instructed, "the key to our survival is coordination. We need to move as one unit, not as individuals. If we're going to take back our planet, We must trust each other. Bra watched as a group of young Trillian recruits struggled with their plasma rifles, their hands shaking from both fear and inexperience. He stepped forward, his heart swelling with determination. "Here, let me help you," he said gently, kneeling beside them. With patience and encouragement, Bra guided them through the basics of aiming and firing. "It's not just about pulling the trigger. It's about understanding your weapon and knowing when to shoot," he explained. As he worked with them, he could see their confidence growing, each successful shot fired igniting the spark of hope within him. Building trust. As days turned into weeks, the bond between humans and Trillians deepened. They shared meals around campfires, exchanged stories of their cultures, and forged friendships that transcended their differences. Thompson often found herself laughing with Zora, one of the young Trillian recruits who had become a quick study in combat techniques. "Do you really think we can win?" Zora asked one evening as they sat by a flickering fire under the stars. Thompson looked at her thoughtfully. "I believe we can," she replied firmly. "We've already shown that we can stand up to them. Every ambush we execute weakens their hold on this planet." Zara nodded, her eyes reflecting both fear and determination. "I've lost so much already. I don't want to lose anyone else." "Neither do I," Thompson said softly. "But we're not alone anymore. We have each other." First major offensive. The time for action finally arrived when Hawkins gathered everyone for an urgent meeting at their command center. The holographic map displayed Cheyenne troop movements across Trillia, revealing an opportunity for a coordinated strike against one of their supply depots, located near a strategically important mountain pass. "This is our chance," Hawkins declared, his voice resonating with conviction. "If we can disrupt their supply lines here, it will create chaos within their ranks and give us an advantage." Bra felt a surge of adrenaline at the thought of taking the fight directly to the Shens. "We should launch a surprise attack at dawn," he suggested eagerly. Thompson nodded in agreement. "We can use the terrain to our advantage, set up ambush points along their route." The plan was set into motion as they divided into teams. Some would lay traps, while others prepared for direct confrontation. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation and tension as everyone understood what was at stake. The night before battle. As night fell over Trillia, Bra found himself unable to sleep. He sat outside under the stars, reflecting on everything that had transpired. The destruction of his home, the loss of his mentor, and now this impending battle that could change everything. Came a soft voice behind him. It was Thompson, her expression serious yet comforting as she joined him on the ground. "Can't sleep either." Bra shook his head slowly. "I keep thinking about what happens if we fail, if we don't stop them." Thompson sighed deeply before speaking again. "We've come too far to turn back now. We're fighting not just for ourselves, but for everyone who has suffered because of these monsters." Her words resonated with him. They were more than just soldiers. They were protectors fighting for their future. Dawn of reckoning. At dawn, they'd moved out under a shroud of darkness that still clung to the land like a heavy blanket. As they approached the Cheyenne supply depot nestled between jagged cliffs, Bra felt his heart pounding in his chest, a mix of fear and exhilaration coursing through him. "Positions," Hawkins commanded in a low voice as they took cover behind boulders scattered around the area. Bra's pulse quickened as he peered through his scope at the enemy encampment ahead. Cheyenne soldiers were milling about, unaware of the storm about to descend upon them. "On my mark," Hawkins whispered sharply. As dawn broke over Trillia's horizon, casting golden light across the battlefield, Hawkins raised his arm high. "Now." In an instant, blaster fire erupted from all directions as they charged forward into chaos. Bra felt adrenaline surge through him as he fired at approaching Cheyennes while dodging incoming plasma bolts. The element of surprise worked in their favor. Cheyenne soldiers scrambled in confusion as humans and Trillians fought side by side, a whirlwind of energy and determination against an enemy that had underestimated them. Victory amidst chaos. The battle raged fiercely, Explosions rocked the ground beneath them as they pressed forward relentlessly. Bra fought alongside Thompson and Zara, each moment filled with both terror and exhilaration as they pushed deeper into enemy lines. "Keep pushing," Thompson shouted above the din of battle as she took down another Cheyenne soldier with precision. Bra felt invigorated by her spirit. He aimed carefully and fired again, taking down another enemy combatant before rushing forward alongside his comrades. Finally, they reached the heart of the depot where supplies were stored. Boxes filled with weapons and resources meant for further conquest lay before them like treasures waiting to be claimed. "We did it," Zora exclaimed breathlessly as she surveyed their surroundings, filled with debris from their fight. Hawkins joined them moments later, his face smeared with dirt yet alight with triumph. "This is just the beginning. We've sent them a message. We're not going down without a fight." As they gathered together amidst remnants of battle, their hearts swelling with pride, Bra realized how far they had come from those dark days huddled in underground bunkers filled with despair. They were no longer victims. They were warriors united against oppression, a force that would rise from ashes stronger than ever before. The turning point. The aftermath of the successful raid on the Cheyenne supply depot reverberated throughout Trilia. The resistance, now emboldened by their victory, began to gain momentum. However, the cost of their newfound strength weighed heavily on Bra and his comrades. Lieutenant Commander Thompson's condition remained critical after her injury, and Bra felt a profound sense of responsibility to honor her sacrifice. A heavy heart, Bra stood in the makeshift medical bay, watching as Dr. Reeves worked tirelessly to save Thompson's life. The sterile scent of antiseptic mingled with the acrid smell of burnt metal and smoke from the recent battle. He could hear the faint sounds of moans and whispers from other injured Trillians and humans alike, a symphony of pain that tugged at his heart. "Captain," Dr. Reeves called out, breaking Bra from his thoughts. "She's stable for now, but we need to keep a close eye on her. The plasma burn was severe. She'll need time to heal." Bra nodded, swallowing hard as he fought back tears. "Thank you for everything you're doing," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Reeves offered a reassuring smile, though it was tinged with exhaustion. "We're all in this together. We'll get her through this." As Bra turned to leave the medical bay, he felt a surge of determination wash over him. They had fought hard to gain this foothold against the Shens, but they couldn't stop now. They needed to capitalize on their victory and push forward while they still had the element of surprise. Gathering intelligence. In the command center, Hawkins was poring over the data they had captured during the raid. The holographic map displayed Cheyenne troop movements and supply routes, revealing vulnerabilities that could be exploited. "Bra," Hawkins called out as he saw him enter. "Come take a look at this." Bra approached the table, his eyes scanning the holographic display. "What have you found?" "Based on this intel," Hawkins explained, pointing at various locations on the map, "we can predict where their next moves will be. If we strike here," he indicated a cluster of red markers representing Cheyenne bases, "we can disrupt their operations and weaken their hold even further." Bra felt a thrill of excitement at the prospect of another offensive. "We should strike quickly before they regroup." Hawkins nodded in agreement. "Exactly. But we need to be smart about it. No reckless charges this time." He glanced around at the gathered resistance fighters, both humans and Trillians, who were listening intently. "We'll divide into teams," Hawkins continued. "One will create distractions while another hits their supply lines directly. We can't let them recover from our last attack." The plan takes shape. As plans were laid out and strategies discussed, Bra felt a sense of unity among those present, a bond forged through shared struggles and losses. They were no longer just Trillians and humans. They were allies fighting for their survival. "Let's make sure everyone understands their roles," Thompson said as she entered the room, her voice strong despite her injuries. She leaned heavily on a crutch, but refused to let that deter her spirit. "Thompson," Bra exclaimed in surprise and relief at seeing her up and about. "I'm not letting a little plasma burn keep me down." She replied with a wry smile. "We've got work to do." The room erupted in applause as Thompson took her place among them, her presence invigorating everyone's spirits. Preparing for battle. As night fell over Trilia once again, preparations for the assault began in earnest. The resistance fighters gathered supplies. Blasters were checked and reloaded while makeshift armor was donned with renewed resolve. Bra moved among them, offering encouragement where he could. He felt a sense of pride swell within him. These were his people, his allies, and together they would stand against tyranny. "Remember," Bra addressed them as they gathered for one final briefing before heading out into battle, "we fight not just for ourselves, but for everyone who has suffered under Cheyenne oppression. We fight for our homes, our families, and our future." Cheers erupted from the group, echoing off the crumbling walls around them as they prepared to face their enemies once more. The assault begins. At dawn, they moved out under cover of darkness toward their targets, stealthily navigating through the ruins toward Cheyenne strongholds marked on Hawkins' map. Tension hung thick in the air as they approached their first objective, a supply depot critical to Cheyenne operations. "Stay sharp," Hawkins whispered as they neared the compound's perimeter. "We don't want to alert them too soon." Bra's heart raced as they crept forward. Every sound seemed amplified. The crunch of gravel underfoot or distant voices echoing in the stillness made him acutely aware of how fragile their situation was. As they reached their designated positions around the compound, Hawkins raised his hand. His eyes locked onto Bra's, and then dropped it swiftly. In an instant, chaos erupted as blaster fire lit up the dawn sky. Explosions rocked the ground beneath them as they charged into battle with fierce determination. Facing General Zorak, the fighting was brutal. Cheyenne soldiers scrambled to respond to the unexpected assault while Bra fought alongside his comrades with everything he had learned in recent weeks. Each shot fired felt like an act of defiance against those who had sought to obliterate his home. Amidst the fray, Bra spotted General Zorak himself commanding troops from a vantage point above. A cruel grin plastered across his face as he watched his forces engage in combat. Fueled by rage and determination for vengeance against this monster who had caused so much pain and suffering, Bra shouted over gunfire, "We must take him down. He's orchestrating everything." Hawkins nodded grimly as they pushed deeper into enemy lines toward Zorak's position, a fierce battle raging all around them while they fought through waves of Cheyenne soldiers determined to protect their leader. Finally reaching Zorak's command center after what felt like an eternity of fighting, Bra burst through doors alongside Hawkins, only to find Zorak waiting for them with an air of arrogance that made Bra's blood boil. "So you've made it this far," Zorak sneered, eyes glinting with malice as he regarded them both contemptuously. "You think you can defeat me? I will crush you like insects." "It's over," Hawkins shouted back defiantly as he raised his blaster toward Zorak, a symbol of hope against tyranny. But before either could fire a shot or speak another word, the room exploded into chaos once more. The final confrontation. Zorak lunged forward with surprising speed. Chaos erupted around them as soldiers clashed fiercely. Plasma bolts flew past Bra's head while he ducked behind cover. Adrenaline surged through him like wildfire. Hawkins fired back at Zorak, but missed narrowly. Zorak retaliated with deadly precision, but in that moment something shifted within Bra, a surge of resolve igniting within him. With every ounce of strength left in him fueled by memories lost, his mentor Dr. Zvox's teachings echoing in his mind, Bra charged forward toward Zorak amidst chaos. "Your reign ends here," Bra shouted defiantly as he raised his weapon high. In that moment, the world around him faded away. The only thing that mattered was stopping this monster who had brought so much suffering upon his people. With one final shot fired, the blast struck true under Zorak's chin, and silence fell across the battlefield. Aftermath of victory. As General Zorak crumpled lifelessly to the ground, the remaining Cheyenne forces faltered. News spread like wildfire among them. their leader was dead. Faced with overwhelming odds against united human Trillian forces, they began retreating hastily from Trillian soil. Bra stood amidst rubble. Emotions surged within him, relief mixed with grief for all those lost. Yet hope blossomed anew among survivors who emerged from hiding. They had fought valiantly together against oppression, and together they would rebuild what had been lost. Captain Hawkins approached Bra amidst chaos settling down around them, a weary smile breaking through soot-streaked skin. "We did it." "Yes," Bra replied breathlessly, tears welling up in his eyes as he surveyed destruction surrounding them, but also resilience shining brightly among survivors working side by side. "We will rebuild," Hawkins promised firmly, his voice filled with conviction. And so began an arduous journey toward healing, a united effort between humans and Trillians bound by bloodshed, but also forged through shared commitment toward justice, a commitment that would guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would rise from ashes stronger than ever before, defying all odds against tyranny, and ensuring that no one would ever face such darkness alone again.